you were counting down from 5, 4, 3. At 2, you were like, Bosco, you're nearly there. I was instantly clicked into that hypnotherapy state. Is this dangerous?
If you don't even believe your own experience, how can you believe other people just telling you through something that they got? The definition of joy is the journey of yours. If you're not living life with joy, you're stopping the flow, the energy from manifesting whatever you want to manifest in life. Everyone is here on earth with a purpose, with a mission. A lot of people live in the past. It's only by living in the now can you find peace.
Hey guys, welcome to the Awakened Diaries podcast, where each week we have the privilege to sit with sages, entrepreneurs, and experts from different types of field to explore unconventional ideas and tools to help improve our life quality. And today I'm really honored to be joined along by Dr. Rhoda Choi, who's a business executive turned hypnotherapist and also holds a PhD in psychology, specifically parapsychology. Dr. Choi was my facilitator for my first past life regression, which was a one-of-a-kind experience and something very interesting to talk about. And as an incoming college freshman and someone who's been seeking a greater understanding to life and to my mind, to my body, and to what really everything is, this conversation will open you up to new ideas and possibilities of living, especially during a period where there's great change and great chaos going on. So just to get us started, Dr. Choi, could you tell us about how your mother had an impact on yourself? Because from what I know, you grew up in an unconventional family structure.
Thank you, Bosco, for inviting me. Yes, I grew up in Hong Kong, but we immigrated to Canada when I was small. So what makes that difference is that exposure to two different countries and cultures. And at the same time, my family is not the traditional type of family. My mom is actually very freehand. She is very upfront with a lot of stuff, not just in the corporate world, but later turned into that spiritual industry, I guess you can call it, or the spiritual field. So since small, I mean, we've been given a lot of just free choice opportunities for us to explore life as it is. And so eventually, as I grow up, during my late high school years and also early university years, both my parents already returned to Hong Kong. So I was left with my brother in Canada. So we had a lot of free time. So pretty much whatever we want to do, wherever we want to go, we're just free to do it. We don't have to report to anyone. I guess that's one of the things that helped me a lot on my path is because I'm so used to just seeking out different things and trying things out of my comfort zone. Yeah. And that my parents don't really put a restriction on it. And that's actually the background I'm coming from. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
Super cool. Yeah. I was wondering, what was the first encounter with all of these spiritual modalities or so-called unconventional healing or methods that you've encountered?
Okay, so it definitely is not during my brought up or when I grow up through school years, okay? Yeah. I guess what really happened was in the year 2008. So before that, my mom's already doing hypnotherapy, life counseling, and she's also just tapped into doing past life regression for her clients as well. And she's always been teaching, not the academics that we do in schooling, but more like a life education, communication, because these are things that it's actually something you cannot learn in school, like in traditional schooling, but something that's very important in your life, okay? And up until 2006, actually, so my mom's been studying a lot of, been reading a lot of books on numerology. So I don't know if you've heard about numerology, okay? I know you're into some human designs and other stuff, right? So numerology is also a modality that helps you kind of understand your life purpose and experience and learnings just by looking at your date of birth, okay? So my mom's been studying and diving into that because she's actually got my mom's elementary school friend, like a really good friend, who actually has been diagnosed with some mental problems, okay? And so my mom's trying to find out why this happened to her bestie. And as a result, numerology was the path that she dived into. And then she understood that her friend with the characteristics from her numbers from her day of birth was not able to execute that characteristic throughout her life, especially in her career. For example, she's supposed to be like a leader, okay? She's supposed to, let's say, bring out creativity, which resonates with the characteristics and energy of her numbers, okay? But all her life, she's been a secretary. So you just think about it, like how creative can you be as a secretary working in a government department, okay? Can't be very creative, okay? And so eventually she's starting to hear voices within her. And these voices within her actually is not voices that gives her affirmation or positive like awareness. It's actually giving her a negative sense into like self-doubt, losing her self-confidence. And of course, if you go to see a doctor, then yeah, there's something wrong with you mentally, right? And so that's what happened. But eventually what happened was she committed suicide, which was a big impact on my mom. And it's a story that my mom always shared as she teaches numerology class as well, okay? Because it is actually for people to know you are born with a purpose. You're born with a mission, let's say. And the numbers that you're born into, as in your day of birth, actually kind of shape the energy that's around you, okay? And with that, if you're now not executing the energy that you have within into a positive attributes, then you're actually turning it into the negative one, which means you're, instead of going up to the hill, you're actually going backwards and downwards. So that's one story my mom always shared, because everyone is here on earth with a purpose, with a mission, and with your learnings and experience. So that's what gave my mom that little push to start teaching numerology. And then a few years after, I guess that was the major life event that happened to my family, okay, me and my parents. It's that back in 2008, suddenly one day, and I remember it was October 1st in Hong Kong, and I was about to attend one of my best friend's wedding during the lunchtime, like a lunch banquet. And just as I was stepping in to the banquet, I had a call from my mom. And my mom says, come home now. Your brother, like your younger brother, is no longer here. And it took me a moment to realize what my mom was talking about, because amongst our friends, there is one that we call Silo, younger brother, right? And I'm like, he's just right there in front of me, right? And then I figure, oh, it's my brother, okay? And then so at that moment, I finally understood what is meant by time just stopped. You just felt like every second is a torture. Every minute seems like days, okay? And then so we went home not knowing what happened. It was just a call that I got, like my mom got from our aunt and uncle back in Canada, because my brother's still in Canada back then. And so my dad's family came up to our home, and I was trying to find plane tickets back to Canada, yeah. And then thankfully, I had a friend that at that time I was studying a master's degree in marketing. So I have my marketing friend that was able to grab us tickets, and then we flew out back to Canada right there and then. And like the whole flight, it's like I live in Calgary, okay? So it's like Vancouver and then an hour in. And it just felt like weeks. And because we didn't have seats next to each other, so my parents actually sat like 2 rows in front of me. And I just can see them weeping. And it was just so heartbroken. And of course, for myself, I was also crying as well. So, and then we went back to Canada and also not knowing what happened. But eventually, after like 2 weeks' time, we're able to finally have a memorial for my brother. And that was the first time I saw him in front of me, lifeless. Yeah. So that was a really, really, really big impact. And I guess at that time, I probably fell into depression as well. It's not the first time that I've encountered death in the family, as in a family member, like grandparents, yeah, right? But I've never thought my younger brother would actually leave before me. That's just, it just won't cross your mind like that, right? And so, yeah, so I fell into, like, I couldn't stop crying. Like, every day you sit there and then you just cry. After, like, we settle everything in Canada, come back to Hong Kong, and sitting in the MTR, you're like, you just cry. You know, watching a movie, you just cry. Talking to your friend, you just start crying. And yeah, I know. People says, give it time. I know, give it time. But sometimes it's more than that word of giving it time. Sometimes it's that long for knowing why it happened the way it did, right? Seeking for answers, okay? And then, so in the end, my mom actually went to see some intuitives to try to get some answers, like Chinese intuitives, Western intuitives, and like do readings and channelings and stuff like that. And all in all, to put it together in a picture, it's kind of like the message is, oh, well, it's just time for my brother to pass on, to go on, because it's he's done his mission, he's fulfilled his purpose, and he's got a next life to go into. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. And then, so that's actually the message we took away, we walked away with. And then my mom told me, she said, because right then she was already doing past regression with her clients. She said, even though your brother is not physically here, his soul is still here, because soul is eternal. And then so my mom's like, well, why don't I do a past life regression for you so that you can understand a bit more for yourself. Yeah, so that's how things kind of started into spirituality.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that really deep story.
Yeah,
and I think it's really a story that a lot of people can resonate with, especially at particular periods of their life. I mean, I'm someone who's super young, haven't had a midlife crisis. Okay, not hoping for a midlife crisis.
Of course.
But, you know, just looking at the adults around us, we can see there's a lot of chaos going on, a lot of problems, a lot of doubts.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because it's only during these moments when we begin to look into alternative approaches rather than traditional approaches, into figuring out what life is and going into all of these things, talking about souls, talking about passive regression, numerology, and things like that. So I'm curious to hear about why you think that's the case. Why do people need to go through such a large event first before they start actually paying attention to these? Because a lot of our assumptions nowadays is like these things are just not, it's just weird, you know?
Yeah. Well, one thing I must say, you are very young. And it's like you're already in search for all these different things, or you already have an interest in exploring more to life at a very young age. You're like feel of a kind out there, okay? I guess it has to go back to society, how we're brought up, like especially in Hong Kong, where we are right now, okay? Hong Kong is a very fast-paced environment, right? And then everyone is like about money, about your grades, about material, about your ranking, your status in
college,
at work. You know, exactly. Like what school do you go to, and that's just how Hong Kong is, or maybe even like how the Chinese culture is. There is a lot of comparison. Okay. And a lot of times, especially in the Chinese culture, it's like if you get a score of 98, that's not good enough. Why is it not 100? Right? That's just how the mentality is. And then if you, let's say, choose to go into art, it's like art is not making any money.
Yeah.
Right? You have to go into being a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it is.
Manager.
Exactly.
Exact.
Okay, like iBanker, you know. And that's how that Chinese society is formed. Maybe because like years ahead, our ancestors, maybe they came from a really not so well off background. So that's why it's very hard for them to save up money and have a decent living. And that's why it gets passed on to the next generation. Okay. And then when everybody is just into all these materialistic things in the world, they disconnect themselves from life. They don't know why they're here. They just felt that, well, I'm here because I'm here to get good grades at school so that I can get a good job. If I get a good job, then I have a good income. If I have a good income, then I can have a good family, right? And then I can buy a house, I can buy a car, and then I can work until I retire, and then I can go travel. And then that's the end
Dream
of the
life.
Yep.
Financial freedom, time
exactly.
freedom.
Or so they thought.
Yeah.
Right? And but a lot of times we've seen a lot of clients who are very well off financially, who's like, you know, very like their social status is very good, and but still they're not happy. And why is that? Because they feel there's an emptiness within. Something is just not right. Maybe there's actually a voice within telling them you're lacking something. So, but coming back to what you've just mentioned, why is it that we need these different traumatic events in order for us to kind of awaken us? I call this like an awakening point, right?
Yeah.
It's just because we're just so involved in our daily living. Like every day we open our eyes, where's our focus? External world. Have we ever turned within? Have we ever gave ourselves time to turn within and ask ourselves, what are we looking for? A lot of the people nowadays, they don't have that luxury, some people call it, or time, other people call it, but they just don't give themselves space to do it. So what happens is, if you believe there's like a spiritual aspects in life, in this universe, then your spiritual masters, let's just say, okay, will actually give you different events so that you stop and think about life. Think about why you're here. Think about your experiences in the past. Think about this event that happened here. What is it trying to tell you? And that's why you've got all these awakening events in a person's lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you know what to believe? Like, that's a pretty deep question. Like, what in general do we believe in? I mean, if
Are you talking about religion, or are you talking about
the different experiences, or just in general, like, for example, when we're consuming information or when we're trying different things, what do you normally believe in?
Okay. You know, when I started off, it was the first modality I kind of tapped into is hypnotherapy, because, of course, my mom was working on me through past life regression, so that I can understand that the soul exists, soul is eternal, right? But for me to learn, actually, the first modality was hypnotherapy. But nowadays, there's so many different modalities out there. Some I haven't heard of the name before. And then you're like, so what is right and what is wrong?
Yeah.
Like which to believe and which not to follow,
exactly.
right? The only thing I can tell you, because there's no right or wrong, everything that you encounter in life is an experience for you. But at the end of the day, is do you understand what the learning is behind each experience, okay? But if you are in doubt, I always suggest this to my clients or my students. Fall back into your heart and allow your heart to guide its way. And then this actually raises another question. So how many people know how to fall back into their hearts? Right?
Yeah.
It's very hard, especially like in Hong Kong. Everyone's just in the brain, in the mind, everything's okay, I need to do some analysis, fact check. And spirituality is not something that you can actually fact check. Yes, you can fact check because there are testimonials here and there, right? But what I truly treasure is your own personal experience. Because I can be a psychic and I can tell you, oh, this is what you've been in the past. This is what you're about to become. But it's only through your own experience that is more real for you. Yeah. I can get the messages, but it can be subjective. But you can have your own experience and feel these sensations that I cannot create for you because it's just coming from within. So tapping into the heart is drop out of your mind. Sometimes your mind have all these chatters that just won't stop, You know how people talk about mindfulness, meditation, we need to meditate right now. The moment you close your eyes and try to meditate, thought starts coming in. Sometimes even for myself, it takes me like 20 minutes before my mind quiets down and I get into that blissful state. Okay? It's only when you get out of that chattering in your mind can you allow yourself to drop back into your heart. And by saying so, I know you probably have some questions about one of the modality, and I actually like to jump into that first.
Sure.
Okay?
Go for it.
And that's about Sekhem. Okay, so I am a teacher, facilitator of all of Sekhem, and I learned it directly from the founder, Patrick Sigler. Okay. And so Sekhem is actually an energy modality, okay? But what's so special about Sekhem is we teach students or participants to connect back into your heart space. Because a lot of times we actually shut down our hearts without knowing. Because from your past experience, there might have been heartbreaks in your relationships. You might have doubts about yourself as you grow up on things that didn't happen the way that you expected it to be. And all these little things adding up, a lot of times it causes your heart to shut down because it just hurts to be in love again. Because that heartache. It just hurts for you to actually believe in yourself again because it wasn't up to your expectation, right? People start shutting themselves down from the hearts, from that connection. And then people turns into the mind. And then they just listen to the mind.
And then the negative loop goes on and
Exactly.
on again. And you keep feeling more depressed.
Exactly. So yes, there's a lot of modalities out there. Okay. And it's not for me to say this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is not right. But it's for you to find out for yourself if this modality resonates with you. And by doing so, drop back to your heart.
Yeah. I really like all of the parts where you mentioned about like feeling that emptiness. And I just want to transition into the topic of really diving into the roots of life in general.
Okay.
And this also, I think, relates to Sekhem, which you've talked about. And there's a lot of talks about energy and energy blockages, and there's quantum particles and everything. So could you tell us more about how the world and how the universe is built up from these energy?
Okay. Well, I guess there's like a scientific explanation to energy, right?
Yeah.
Light creates energy, heat creates energy, sound creates energy, So there are different things that creates energy, okay? For me, in terms of the energy in the spiritual aspects, I'm talking about like soul, consciousness, okay? Let's say, for example, everything around us is energy. Even this table we're placing our hands on, okay? It's got consciousness, okay? For example, let's say you've got your computer here, right? Okay.
Yep.
And when the computer's new, you're like, oh, this is my brand new computer. I love it. And you're like, oh, good. You take good care of it. And then it runs smoothly for you, right? And then after a few years, there's a new model that comes out. You're like, oh, actually, I'm interested in that new model. And then this old one, you're like, maybe, I'll just put it aside. And then soon after, let's say, for example, if you really did get a new model, suddenly one day, the computer just shut off, your old computer. There might not be any problems prior to that, okay? But suddenly, if your intention shifted from this onto a new one, the old one just eventually dies out on its own. It's not because it's outdated. Like, I know the hardware aspects and the software is outdated, but still, a better example, personal example. Okay, so my mom actually had a sewing machine, okay? It was like a Singer sewing machine. And she got that before we immigrated in 1988. So she was already using it, okay? And then when we immigrated, so she brought that along to Canada, and then we have to shift the voltage and stuff, right? And then when she came back, she actually took it back to Hong Kong. And then it's been like 25 years, that machine is still running really good, And then one day she actually was, took the machine out, and then she was just changing like the length of a pair of shorts or something like that, a pair of pants. And then just in her mind, she's like, wow, I've had you for like 25 years. And really, thank you. And then she stepped on like this, like a kind of a pedal where the needle runs, right? She stepped on it, boom. It fired up. And it was done. So all of that on the spiritual aspect, on the energetic aspect of our understanding, it's like, it's almost like the machine is about to, you can say it's about to worn out. It's like about time for it to end its life. And you have that gratitude that just kind of came across your mind. You tell it to it, it's like, oh, done. Okay. So if you notice, if you put like good intention into the things like your materials, your belongings, it actually stays new for a longer period of time.
Really?
It does. It does.
It's not coincidence or...
No, it's not. Have you ever tried that? Have you ever noticed that? It's not a coincidence.
Maybe I do have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, you do have to. It's just like, let's say, if by chance you go overseas, and then you get a driver license, start driving, talk to your car. I always talk to a car. I was like, thank you. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for driving me around. Thank you for keeping me safe. You'll find that the car runs smoothly.
Why is that though?
It's just the energy that you're putting in, the energy that you're putting out. Okay. I don't know if you actually there's a lot of experience out there, about like different plants. So like 3 different plants, and then one, you talk to it every day, right? And then another one, you actually just ignore it, okay? And then the third one, you actually scold it every day, talk negative stuff onto it every day. So out of the 3, okay, so which one do you think actually grew the best?
And based on what you said, definitely the one where you speak to it.
Yeah. The one where you tell it, oh, I love you, you're very pretty, you're very strong. Yeah, It grew really strongly. And then there's the one that you ignore, and the one that you talk to it badly, right? So which one is the worst?
I mean, that one's probably dead already.
Which one?
It's a good question, because on one hand, one is like directly, or it's kind of like you're attacking it violently, but then the other one is like you completely forgot about it.
Yeah, so which one?
I'm going to go with the violent one.
Okay.
So the one where you directly talk.
Okay. Actually, it's not. It's the one you totally ignored. So the one you totally ignored just is the worst out of the 3 plants. The one you actually attacked, talked to it negatively, you're still talking to it.
True.
Yes, the words, the intentions are negative, Okay, so the energy on the energetic aspects is more dense. I like to call it dense. Okay, but the one that you're ignoring, it's like it's not even there. You're not even seeing its presence. Yeah, so that one actually dies the fastest.
Super interesting, because this makes me think of a quote by Carl Jung. Until you make the unconscious conscious, you're going to call that fate.
You can say it that way, yeah, that makes sense. Because a lot of times it's just like going back to the awakening, okay? Why are people experiencing all these traumatic events, right? That's part of the awakening. That's part of awakening your consciousness into being aware, okay, of what's happening around you, and then being aware of what you are doing here on Earth today. Yeah. If you don't have that awareness, you're like, everything that happened is fate. It's just meant to be, you know? It's just that way. But then if you have awareness, then you know, oh, so this experience that I had in the past actually was what shaped all my beliefs into where I am today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once we develop this awareness, I know your core work focuses a lot around healing. And when I first stumbled upon your website and when I'm reading all about healing, it's like my mind have this negative connotation towards healing, because, you know, like when someone tells you, you better go do some healing, it's like there's an instant association that something is wrong. There's some kind of problem in your body, or there's maybe a scar or something. And instantly you start getting into that fear-based mode. You're like, oh, what if I don't heal? What if this is going to happen? What if that's going to happen? So I'm wondering, how do you approach healing in such an open and curious manner?
So healing for you is, there must be something wrong for me in order to heal, that's how I guess a majority of people understands healing, right? But I'm not saying that there is got to be something wrong with you. There are people who's out there and totally like, I don't need any healing at all, right?
Yeah.
So anything that's, regardless if it's sound, anything that just associates itself with healing, they're like, nope, nothing wrong with me. I don't need to do it. And that's fine. But a lot of times there are people out there who's walking around, they're not happy, okay? And why are they not happy? It might be because there's something in the past that happened and they couldn't let go of it. They couldn't understand it. It could have been a family member who passes and they still misses this person dearly, and they just couldn't let that energy go, right? And it could be a lot of different things. It could be that you're physically sick. It could be you're mentally sick, okay? It can even be you're spiritually sick, okay? So I mean, healing is actually, if you are aware, there are some things that can make yourself better, and not just put a Band-Aid on it, knowing that the scar's still there, put a Band-Aid. Scar's still there, put a Band-Aid, okay? And then I walk around with all these Band-Aids all around, like on my physical body.
A mommy.
Yeah, exactly. And but I'm okay. I don't need to be healed. And you're like, are you sure? Right? So there's a lot of people who felt there's nothing wrong. That's fine. But it doesn't mean whatever in the past that happened, they've already let it go. If they have, that's good. If they haven't, then maybe you can explore healings. Explore something that can help you better. Because a lot of times, whatever hurts that you've experienced in the past, you might not be consciously aware of it. And it lies in your subconscious. And when it lies in your subconscious, it affects the way you think. It affects your action. And it limits your growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting, because a lot of the times I realize, like, especially in society nowadays, we're always taught to view things on like a top-down level rather than like a bottom-up approach. Whereas like you take this action first and then reflect on what happened, rather than going in and then doing what makes you feel fulfilled and doing what you found on the inside.
Right. That's just how society was shaped, right? That's just how we were taught as we grew up. That's how school taught us. That's how our family taught us. That's how our parents taught us. So we're like, yeah, go here, and then that's all we need to do. But nowadays, look at all these chaotic things that's happening around the world. And why do you think it is the way it is right now?
Violence. I mean, people can't control their emotions, and they're just it's like they're exploding something that they've been keeping on the inside. Like I'm thinking about like all of the different like political things going on, and all of the like natural disasters that we've been having, and it's a very interesting period to be living in.
It is.
But definitely a painful one as well, especially if we're paying attention to all of these news, and especially when you're in the midst of it.
It is. Okay. So let's just put aside a human free will of creating all these wars and whatever they have behind, right? Let's just put that aside. Let's just talk about natural disasters then, okay? So some people say it's nothing that we can control because it's natural.
Yeah.
Others say it's because we've harmed Earth enough that now with the global warming and all these other things, so that's
like the
why
karma coming back
exactly,
and
right.
all that spiritual
stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's why all these natural disasters that we haven't experienced in the past is just surfacing, right? But if from a higher perspective, or even for like a spiritual perspective, all these natural disasters that's happening around the world, okay, it's actually creating awareness. Yes, it can be awareness that you need to take good care of Earth, because Earth's been nurturing humanity for so many thousand years, right? And at the same time, it can also be awareness so that you sit back into the now. A lot of people live in the past. They think, oh, if I could have done that when I was 20, if I could have done that, if I could have fixed that, blah, 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 right? And then a lot of people live in the future. Oh, I want my future to be this, to be that, to be that. So if you're living in the past, you're actually living in a lot of regrets. You're regretting that you haven't done this. You're regretting that it wasn't the way you planned it to be, right? If you're living in the future, you're actually living in anxiety. It's only by living in the now can you find peace.
When I first began to understand that truth, like living in the now, I remember it was really painful because like you start to realize that in the past, like you've been living in the past, but then you doing that process is also you looking back at the past and judging it. So I'm wondering, like, what have been some of the more compassionate approaches that we can take to look into ourselves without, feeling this regret and feeling all of this judgment, all of these angers coming up?
Right. So actually, all modalities are very compassionate. I can
it's like
say
our mind has like a filter on.
It does. So it's like if you're not ready to really see the truth of it, it won't be revealed to you. It's like your subconscious mind, it does have this protection mechanism. If you're not ready to face it, it won't come up. It will only surface and reveal when you're ready to handle it, when you're ready to face it. So that in itself is already very compassionate, right? So now going back, you're saying, okay, so you've been thinking about the past and then all these things that surface in the past. That's where the healings need to be done. It's like now you're aware that there are things in the past that you haven't been able to let go of, that you're still stuck in. And that's like you moved on, on age-wise, you moved on, you grew up, right? But thinking back, you're still sad. You're still upset about what happened in the past. So this is why there needs to be healing. Does that mean there's something wrong? I wouldn't say it's something wrong, but it's just something that you are aware of and that you are ready to let go of. So healing for me is actually that definition. It's that you're ready to review it, to release it, and to have gratitude for it. And then you continue your path. Yeah.
I know you work a lot with Theta healing, so could you break down from the beginning, step by step, on what Theta healing is?
Okay. So Theta healing is actually a modality found by Fiona Steibel from the States. So she's got a lot of books, and just type Theta healing. She's got like a bunch of books. So Theta healing is actually a modality where we connect to the creation energy. So we believe there is a creation energy that created everything in the universe. Souls, planets, universe, everything. Okay. And we call it the creator. Okay. You can call it God. You can call it source. It really doesn't matter. Whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay. But there is that energy beyond the physical that created everything. So that's what we believe in. So this modality connects you to the creator. And then through the creator, we actually can do a lot of healings that can be instantaneous if you've learned what you're supposed to learn in those experiences. Okay. And Theta healing also goes into finding your bottom beliefs, your core beliefs. Because just like I was saying, okay, you could go to a swimming pool and you're afraid of the water. And then you're wondering for yourself, why am I afraid of water? I've never really swum before. It might be that I'm afraid to drown, okay? But what is it about water that I'm so afraid of, okay? And then it can actually go different ways. It could be because in a past life, if you do believe in past life, because I do past life regressions, right? You could have drowned in a past life and you're still holding on to that trauma from that past life. So that whenever you're by the waters, you're like, oh, I'm going to drown, okay? That happens, okay? Or it could be that fear of drowning because there are responsibilities. Let's say if I drown, if I die, then I leave my family behind. So it could be that then if I leave my family behind, then I'm not responsible. I'm not a responsible mother, or I'm not a responsible father, okay? So that could have been a bottom belief when there's fear coming up as you stand by the water. So Theta healing is a modality, is a technique that we kind of dig. We call it the digging process. As we dig, we find out what your bottom belief is, that you are afraid of water. And then we actually pull that out. And then we use creator's energy to shift that belief. So that is actually Theta healing. Yeah.
I want to learn more about that, like creator's energy. So let's say you identify that you have the fear of drowning and it's because of some kind of like responsibility that you have. So how would you be able to shift that perspective?
Okay. Because in Theta healing, we connect to the creator's energy all the time, okay? And if creator's energy can create everything in the universe, okay, it of course can create a new reality for you, okay? So it can shift your fear and create a new reality for you so that you're not in that fear anymore, okay? And a lot of times the healings can be instantaneous. The shift can be instantaneous if we do reach that bottom belief, if we found it, okay? And because time is actually on Earth, really, beyond Earth. Well, every planet have their own time, yes. But honestly, on a soul level, there's no time. Time is just an illusion. There's no time. Yeah. So when there's no time, all the healings can be done instantaneously.
How would you break that into a more like practical approach on like explaining the whole aspect? Like, do you delve into like the mental understanding of it, or?
Well, on Theta healing, we work on 4 different levels, okay? And it goes with the belief systems, okay? So let's say there's the belief of I am not responsible, for my family, let's say, okay? That can be on what we call the core level. And with the core level, I'm talking about this life, okay? So it relates to whatever it is, this life that you're experiencing, you're relating to, okay? And then there is another level on Theta healing that we work with, which is the DNA level. So it can be with your ancestors. Okay, sometimes the responsibility or the fear of not being responsible for the family could have came from an ancestor, like from a genes, genetics, okay, being passed down. Okay. And then another level that it works on is what we call the history level. So the history level is where we go into the past life. So just like, you might have drowned before, right?
Yeah.
And then you left your family behind, so therefore you felt you're irresponsible. And then another level that it goes into is your soul level. Because if you believe us as in a human body, our soul resides in this human body, this lifetime. When our human body is done, so it's just like taking off your clothes, and then you're changing it into a new clothes, like a new life, right? And so your soul is eternal. It's just choosing to wear different, outfits each time. And each time, so that's like each lifetime, you have different experiences. And through different experience, you generate different beliefs. And each belief serves its purpose. No matter how distorted a belief sounds, it serves a positive purpose for the client. And then, so whatever you've not learned, you haven't been able to let go, you haven't been able to understand on a higher perspective, it all goes back into the soul memory. It's just like you have an iPhone, okay? And then you back it up where it goes to the iCloud, right? And then you can see it this way, like the soul is like the iCloud, okay? And then now you are on, let's say, I don't know, iPhone 16, switching on to iPhone 17. So it's like from one lifetime into a next lifetime, right? And then in your iCloud, it stores all the folders, photos, everything that you've had in the past. And then on your new phone, you're like, okay, so what do I want on this new phone? Okay, I want the memories from 2016 because I really had some great pictures there by graduation. And then the rest, doesn't really need to be here on this phone. And then I wanted to download the most recent photos, right, back onto this phone. So you have a choice of what you want to choose into this new phone, which is your new physical body, let's say, okay? And so that's how it is. So a lot of times, things that keep backing up into the iCloud, back into your soul memory. But it doesn't mean everything in your soul memory is resolved. It's positive. It's happy. And then that's where it surfaced. There could have been beliefs coming from the soul level. Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, once you understand, and let's just say you have an experience on like that soul level, do you have to keep doing theta healing to constantly remind yourself to act in a different way every single day? Or is it something that's just natural or?
Okay. So what's interesting about theta healing is because we're using creator's energy to shift the beliefs, and it can be shifted instantaneously if you really learn and understand the experience, and if you're really ready to let it go, okay, then you don't need to redo it because it's already done. Yeah, so you don't have to do it over and over and over again. But then it gets to a point where I know if you search theta healing, there's like thousands, or not thousands, but there are actually many courses. Like they put into many small courses within this modality. And some of my students are like, why are there so many courses in this modality? I'm like, yes, because each modality or each course actually have different beliefs behind the theme of that course. Okay, let's say we're talking about relationship. Okay, there are specific beliefs that ties strongly with relationship. Like I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of being loved. Like that. Okay, and then let's say it can be manifestation. Okay, and then there are specific beliefs that links with manifestation because I'm not worthy to have abundance. Let's say. Okay, so that's why they break it down into smaller courses so that it's actually pinpointing all these beliefs that they found like along the way that resonate strongly with this topic. And as students continue on with their Theta journey, okay, of course they practice more so that it's easier for them to connect to the creator. But at the same time, through practices within class, they're actually revealing a lot of their own distorted beliefs. And this is where I call your self-work. It actually is actually doing a lot of self-work as you continue on the journey. Yeah. So some people are like, oh, this is just too much self-work. I've had enough. That's fine. Take a break. You don't have to do it all the time. Like, I don't do it all the time, right? But then there are times that, you feel down, you feel being affected by the chaos around, you feel stressed, and then maybe you would like to do a session or two to find out why and release that, whatever's no longer serving you in your subconscious. Yeah.
So self-work is really just awareness of the past, and then once you're aware of that past, then you can be more understanding, like at least have like a more better like mental grasp of it. And speaking about the past, I want to talk a bit about past life regression because I think my experience was crazy. I remember you were counting down from 5, 4, 3. At 2, you were like, Bosco, you're nearly there. And right when you said Bosco, like I was instantly like clicked on into that hypnotheric state.
Right.
And it was like my heart was beating extremely fast and I couldn't really hear anything. Your voice turned softer, and it was just a really interesting experience that I just want to learn more about it. Like, what's happening? What's going on?
So, everyone comes in for past life regression. Let's say they all have their own personal experience, and it's very different for every one of them. And for you, it just so happened, it's like right there as I need you to go into it. It's just like you just drop in there. Yeah. And then as you drop in there, it's like everything around you just kind of like, I don't know, it's like becoming a distant from you because you're just zoned out in your own sensation, awareness of whatever was happening in the past life.
Is this dangerous?
It's not, because you are conscious, like you can hear my voice and you do know what you're experiencing. You're not like passing out and blacking out, okay? So anytime you just want to open your eyes, you can. You can get yourself out of the trance state anytime you want, okay? But it's also because you actually wanted to go through the experience that you allow yourself to be in that state, in that trance state, to experience whatever's coming up for you. Okay. Like some people, like you actually went very deep, I guess. So that's why you felt it was like you're just there and everything became softer,
it was like a black
and
hole,
quieter, and like into a void kind of. And then, but I've got clients who's like, oh, I'm just on the line there talking to you, even though images are coming up and I'm feeling this, feeling that, and they're just pretty aware of things that's happening around. So it's very different for everyone. But in terms of a past life, the experience is unique because you're actually going into your own past life. Okay, so what past life to go into, I don't know. Okay, I'll let your soul to choose it for you. One life that is most significant to your current situation. So I wouldn't know what that is. Okay, but what I really like to do for the clients in the past life is have them connect to their higher selves. And that's actually the most important part, because a lot of times people are not aware there is the higher aspect of yourself, the higher self. And this higher aspect of yourself, you can say that it's one with more wisdom, with more knowledge, one that knows why you're here on earth today, okay? One that's know that you're not walking your path, you're actually going the wrong way, and you shouldn't be doing that, one that is also guiding you through, okay? And a lot of times your soul chooses to be on earth today because they want to make a difference. It doesn't have to be a difference to the whole world. It can be to make a difference for yourself, just like doing self-work, releasing past traumas that your soul haven't been able to release, okay? So that connection to higher self is for the clients to connect with their higher self so that they can get messages as to how they can continue their path with more clarity, or to understand what they haven't been able to let go of in their past so that they can clear that energetic tie from that past lifetime. Yeah.
And this is an internal mechanism, right? Because like a lot of the times, what I find myself thinking about when I'm hearing back the audio that you sent is like, can I trust myself? You know, and a very funny story is that during one of the visualizations that you brought me back in, I was, if you remembered, looking at like a trumpet, and I think there was like something coming out of the trumpet, and so crazy is that today when I was in the car with my dad and we were driving to get my visa, there was a car plate right in front saying long trumpet. But literally it says long trumpet.
Right.
And it was like the craziest like blow up moment. Like instantly my mind associated with it. I'm like, wait a minute, there must be something there going on. It's like, it's really crazy.
Did we kind of get the message what the trumpet represents in that past life? I forgot.
As for me, during that moment, I think it represents like projecting my voice, because trumpet's like an instrument known to like voice out and like initiate more and be more active.
Okay. Because a lot of times, you know how people say, oh, there's angel numbers, there are angel messages, right? And these reminders from the spiritual realm, from your guides, from the councils, from your spiritual masters, they come in different forms. Okay, so for you in the past life, it already reminded you through the trumpet as for you to voice out, right? And then maybe you're doubting it. You're like, oh, okay, should I be, should I kind of believe in that past life experience I had, or am I making this whole thing up? And it's normal. You're not the only one. Like probably 8 out of 10 of my clients, the first thing they come out of a session of a past life regression, they're like, I think I made the whole thing up. Yeah, because it's so abstract. They're like, oh, is that it? That's it? No, they have a lot of expectation, maybe into seeing images, like watching a movie, but it doesn't work out that way during trance state, right? And then these messages that the spiritual realm wants to pass on to you, they come in different forms. And for you, it was just a car right in front of you, that license plate that needed to give you that reminder.
Yeah. I mean, I've always seen myself pay attention to car plates, so maybe that's probably a signal.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's also a message for you to trust the messages and the experience that you've encountered in your own past life regression. Because you mentioned, oh, should I trust this? I've got doubt about it. I once has a client who was referred and then did a past life regression. And then after she finished, the first thing she said, do you think this is real? I'm like, why would you ask that question? She's like, because it just seems so vague. I'm like, okay. So I know that before you came to me, you told me you were to get like a reading instead of your own experiencing for a past life regression.
Yeah.
So reading on your past life. So if this was done for you through a reading from a psychic, will you believe that? She's like, of course. And I'm like, why is that? She's like, because the psychic is a professional and I'm not. And I'm like, hey, but this is your own experience. If you don't even believe your own experience, how can you believe other people just telling you through something that they got?
It's like we're really mentally programmed to believe in external authorities. And I think with that case, it's mainly because probably the psychic said something really definite and like our minds really love the definite things.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times if we really want to get definite in the specific essence, we really have to like look at abstract things and kind of just personally debunk it for ourselves, because I mean, we're all pretty unique as individuals.
Exactly. So that's why like a lot of modalities that I do, it's all about personal experience. Yeah. And that goes back as well, like in the past regression, in hypnosis. Like some people have visuals, right? As I've explained to you before during a session. Some people are more feelings oriented. Some people are just like, they just know, it's a sense of knowing. And for those who don't have visuals, for those who are more feelings oriented, they're like, it's just feeling. I'm like, that's the most important part. Sometimes, like at the very beginning, we talk about, dropping back to the heart, and to feel what is right and what is wrong, and you will be guided. But it's trusting that feeling that's coming up from within too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's crazy how our minds like to deal with the unknown. Like we always want to grasp onto something, but then it's like a paradox. It's like once you grasp onto something that does not belong to you, yes, you may get some mental certainty, but then maybe your body and your intuition may not feel that right. And speaking about how interconnected the universe is, I know you also looked into studying shamanism for quite a while, and you actually went to the Andes to reconnect with the Inca energy. And I've always felt this personal connection that there's definitely something between us and animals, like humans and animals, there's definitely something there, but I'm not really that sure of it. So you break down your understanding.
Well, in shamanism, of course, maybe people have heard about totem animals or power animals, right? So how I like to explain it is they are compassionate spirits, okay? They act as a protector for us, human, on Earth. And a lot of times, shamans uses a way where we call it journeying, okay? To journey ourselves into that non-ordinary reality. Okay, so now I'm using all these shamanic terms now. Okay, so like right now here, I see you as Bosco. This is ordinary reality, what we see with the eyes, right? And then non-ordinary reality is where we journey through like the subconscious mind, the consciousness journeys, okay? And then into that non-ordinary reality where we reconnect with, let's say, the lower world, Mother Earth's energy, with your power animals. So, I mean, animals on Earth, there's always been a connection between human and animals in different ways. Sometimes it's because the human felt that animal is a protector for them. Okay, it might be because you do have a power animal of that species. Okay, and then other times, a lot of times, it's actually because animals give their owners unconditional love, which human seeks for, but cannot execute.
What are power animals? Is it like, let's just say my power animal, okay, I'm just making this up, is like a tiger. It doesn't mean that I'm a really, like if we just look at a tiger, it's like a really aggressive person, or what is it?
It doesn't have to be aggressive. Okay, of course you can go on to Google and then there's a lot of explanations as to different power animals and what they stand for and what they do. If you ask me, like let's say a tiger, okay, it could be, it's a very protective energy. Okay, it could be like a protector for you. Okay, or it can be teaching you to be protective of yourself or even of others. Yeah. So let's say, for example, one of the students during the shamanic workshop, she actually picked up a squirrel. So, I mean, she's quite tall. Well, not tall, but like more taller than average, let's say, okay? She's not like a tiny person. And then she looked at her power animal. A squirrel is so small, right? And then she's like, you're so small and I'm so big. What are you here to teach me about? Okay. And then, like, during that journeying, the squirrel climbed up a tree and then asked the student, can you climb up a tree? And the student's like, no. He's like, can you see up from the tree looking out onto the field, like into the distance? Can you do that? And then she's like, no. It's like, this is what I'm teaching you. To see from atop, to see outside of what your limiting eyesights are seeing, to see into the distance. So power animals, actually, they act as a protector and also act as our teacher as well.
So can you like have different power animals?
Yes, you can. You can have more than one power animal. You can have different power animals during different lifetimes because it actually helps you with different things during that time.
Yeah. So I can see it's like another tool very similar to like visualizations, past life regressions to help you metaphorically.
Well, actually, shamanism goes more than that. Like, we don't have to go into belief systems of shamanism, but more what it is about healing through the energy of Mother Earth, healing through the energy of soul. So that's why in shamanism, the shamans, they actually journey into the non-ordinary reality, and then they do a lot of healings there, connecting to the plants, connecting to the trees, and then they also do a lot of soul healing as well. Yeah. So it's different. Like, each modality serves its own purpose.
I saw you also did some research on parapsychology at one point. So I'm just wondering, are we more connected to like these psychic phenomenons like, like the mind reading and extrasensory perceptions than what we think?
I mean, I channel, okay? Let's say through Theta healing, everybody gets messages, so you can become an intuitive, okay? Through past life regressions, you connect with your higher self, so you're also channeling that message from the spiritual realm. Through life between life hypnotherapy, you're connecting with your guides and counsels, and you're also getting these messages from your spiritual masters. But the thing is, some people chase after these abilities, being able to connect to something, being able to get messages from something, being able to do remote viewing of something, And I always ask the client or the student, why? Like, why are you chasing after all these so-called abilities?
So it's like the intention of...
Exactly. Every one of us is psychic. It's just that we don't know where this comes out. Some people come out as like clairvoyant, right? Some are clairaudience, Like, it's different for everyone, and we don't have to chase after it. Chasing after it is not to prove that you're better than another person next to you. If chasing after it is not helping anyone, then what's your purpose and intention of doing all these trainings? Right? And also sometimes when you chase after all these different phenomenons and stuff, it's actually a distraction from you to truly connect back to source. It's all a distraction. Yeah. So for me, on my spirituality path, it's more about self-work. It's about helping others to understand their purpose, to help others understand their experience and what is meant for them to learn through these experiences, and to also help people understand from a higher perspective as to why you're here on earth today. It's not just my parents had fun, therefore I'm born, and then I'm here to, go through schooling, get a good job, get a house. It's not just like that. There's more to life than that. Life is here for you to experience, for all of us to experience. The earth is like a classroom for the souls to come down to experience. And the earth itself has a lot of beauty for us to explore.
Awesome. I'm curious to hear more about where you think humanity's evolution is going towards, other than reconnecting from source. And of course, right now we're looking into the future, even though it's better to go into now. But are there any particular systems or models that exist right now that you think will continue growing and continue expanding?
Well, I believe like different modalities are surfacing within like the new age scope, right? And I wouldn't say all of these modalities are legit. Some of them I might not like, but it exists for a reason. And a lot of times it helps different people along their journey to find themselves and to reconnect. For those who are open to understand more about source, yes, ultimately it's the connection back to source. But for those who are not there yet, then it's a journey of exploration, self-exploration. Yeah.
So many people are going to delve more into understanding the self.
Yes. And that's where humanity is going towards. It's only for you to understand yourself for who you truly are, not as Bosco, but as your soul. Then you understand why you're here.
Yeah. I think it's definitely an interesting period because you have all of the AI technology blowing up, and then it's like our humanity is evolving on a material realm. So then it's like, what's the next stage? Like, what's beyond the material realm? And people are tapping into this, no matter if it's like at a young age, like myself.
Yeah. Like some people with the AI stuffs, right? So people are afraid that, oh, I'm going to lose my job. I don't know how the future is. Everything's shifting at such a fast pace, right? Well, AI still need, to a certain extent, human interaction, right? But at the same time, AI actually free up a lot of time for humans so that all these tedious tasks, you can actually ask the AI to do it for you, because then it'll free up more time for you to explore life and to reconnect back to yourself.
Yeah, and really find that thing that really gives you that inner essence and inner joy. So,
Exactly.
how does mind, body, soul harmony look to you on like an everyday basis?
There needs to be a balance of everything. I know out there everything is about mind, body, and soul, and that's like that sequence that it goes into. But for us, if you've been at our center for the regression, actually for us it's the soul, the mind, and the body. Yeah. And why is it that way? Because from a higher perspective, it's your soul that chooses to be on earth, right? So it chooses to be on earth because it wants to experience something. It wants to fulfill a purpose of some sort, okay? So that's why it chooses to manifest itself to be on earth this lifetime or other lifetimes, okay? And if you're not in the direction of your purpose that your soul wants to be in or pre-agreed to be in, then that's where you tap into that void, that loneliness or that lack, even though you've got all the materials around you, all the abundance that you ever need, but you still feel empty.
So is that like suffering state?
Yeah, because you're not fulfilling your soul's purpose. And then if you're not fulfilling the soul's purpose, then other things start to happen. Let's say emotional issues, right? You feel sad, you feel lonely, you don't know why, okay? And then, so that goes into the mind. Okay? And then you start thinking about this, the worst scenario and stuff like that. And then it can also manifest into the body. So different like disease and disorder starts coming out. And all of these are for you to become aware once again, to reconnect to yourself, to find that purpose your soul have set before it came down.
So we break it down into simple terms as like the soul is like the core essence, and then the mind and then the body is just tools for us in this form.
Exactly. The mind as Bosco can be interfered by a lot of different things from your surroundings, from things you read, from society. And then you have your analysis based on your past experience, based on your past, programmings or belief systems, okay? But your soul have a greater understanding and knowledge and wisdom beyond that.
Okay, so the mind does not impact the soul, but then the soul sends messages.
Okay, it's not that the mind does not impact the soul. The mind also impacts the soul. If your learning this life accelerates so fast and so great that it's a lot of things that your soul don't even know, of course it will affect the soul. Because these are all new knowledge that's coming in for your soul, right? But if whatever you're experiencing right now in this lifetime, and your soul's experienced it many, many times before, then it would be more like your soul interfering or guiding you through, because your soul already know, okay, this is the way it should be. Don't worry about it. Just be calm, stay calm. So it can be both ways.
So would you say like pleasure and pain are basically like the mechanisms to help the body kind of like check in with the soul to a certain extent?
You can say it that way, yeah, to a certain extent, yes.
So it's like through doing something and then we feel a lot of joy means that, I think joy is a pretty broad term as well, because like there can be also like happiness, and like if we delve into like the different, like the lower self and also the higher self wants. But again, is that part of like the entire journey? Like,
okay, there's actually another modality that I also does, but it's not on my website. And the definition of joy is the journey of yours. So how you make your journey joyful is so up to you. Your joy and my joy is different. It's very subjective, right? But the most important part is you are living life with joy. If you're not living life with joy, then you're stopping the flow, the energy from manifesting whatever you want to manifest in life, in living your highest purpose and living it your highest and best. So energetically, life needs to flow. And in order for it to flow smoothly, it has to be in joy. So if you're not living in joy, then people will ask themselves, why am I here? They find everything, even if it's like happy moments, they still think it's not joyful at all.
It's very interesting. Like, I think the concept of suffering ties a lot to like the physical body suffering. But then would you say the physical body in pain can also be part of joy?
It depends on what perspective you see this pain as. Okay.
Yeah.
Some people see this pain as joy because I'm still living. I can still wake up tomorrow morning and see the sun, see my family.
Yeah.
Right? Other people see this pain as misery. Oh, I feel this pain through me 24/7. I just want to end life.
No, so it's always like two sides of a coin, or
Of
just like
course.
this water is like you can
Exactly.
see it whether if it's half empty or half filled, and it's that perspective, and that
Yeah.
perspective comes from the mind.
That perspective comes from the mind, but on a deeper level, it comes from your beliefs. Yeah. So that's why at the end of the day, it goes back to the beliefs.
Oh, beautiful. Dr. Choi, I want to wrap up this podcast with one final question for you, which is, what is the one smallest habit or system that was super easy for you to implement but drastically impacted your life, and what was the impact?
Okay. Meditation.
Can I say other than meditate?
Other than meditation, it's the reminder to drop back into your heart. Okay. So why I said meditation first is because, okay, there's a lot of different ways to meditate, okay? But meditation is like spiritual hygiene. Because on the energetic aspect, as you go out to the street, as we're talking, there's a lot of energy exchange in our words, in our space, in this environment. And sometimes you might not be in that state where you're like positive, right? And then if I'm an empath, I might have picked that up and I go home feeling sad. I don't know why. And that meditation is to clear off your space of any other people's energies, right? So that's why meditation is very important. Okay, meditation is not to chase any messages. That's not the purpose. It's for you to tap back into your inner peace and inner calmness. So, but besides meditation, then it will be tapping into your hearts, because you need to allow that love to flow, and you need to allow yourself to feel. It might not be easy, but that's where it is. Because love, and if we can actually get it to unconditional love, embraces everything.
And does tapping into the heart mean like just reconnecting with your five senses?
Mainly your heart. Just really allow yourself to just kind of drop in here. Yeah, I'm not talking about the physical heart. It's more like the spiritual heart, the heart chakra. Just allow yourself to drop in here and just sit.
And normally, what means do you do to drop in? Do you just do a meditation, or
I
like,
just intentionally, I meditate, right? So I meditate, calm my mind, clear the energies, you know, and then I allow myself to drop into my heart and allow myself to just feel whatever emotions coming from within and acknowledge the emotions. There's no good emotion. There's no bad emotion. Just acknowledging it is already good enough. Yeah. And then as you drop back into your hearts, then you're allowing yourself to open your heart once again, to allow the energy to flow. And then you'll see the world differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it looks like it requires a lot of trust, especially
does.
initially.
It does. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Choi, I really appreciate you hopping on the Awakened Diaries podcast. It was an honor to speak with you.
Thank you.
And all of the amazing stories that you've shared. I hope to once again chat with you in the future, and to anyone who's still listening, wishing you guys all the best, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.